Hi there, friend. Heidi Black here. And this message is really unlike anything I've ever done before. It is the story and really my testimony, my personal testimony of my relationship with Jesus Christ and what that has meant to me and to my family, and the restoration, the healing, the miracle that's come from that. And this story didn't begin just recently. I didn't just make a decision. In fact, what I want you to hear is, I think for a lot of us, we grow up in the church or in a home where there's some form of religion or God is talked about. I know for myself that I've been down numerous roads and paths in terms of seeking more worldly ways to feel worthy and feel like my identity is in something. And you will hit a brick wall every single time. Maybe for a little while you'll create a level of success or peace or something, but it will be very short-lived. And I can speak to that because, I became a Christian. I made a personal decision when I was 12 years old at summer camp. And, at the time it was very intentional. I was aware of what I was deciding, and I was raised in a church home, but there was a lot of confusion. Both my parents, I think, had their own reasons for being confused about the church, and that's not uncommon. As we become adults, we've got to make decisions for ourselves in every area of our life, regardless of what we were raised with and what certain mindset we were kind of given and groomed with. We get to decide. So, I got married young. I got married when I was 20 years old. I'll be 35 this year, so married almost 15 years. And while my husband is the greatest blessing in my life, because I came into our marriage with a lot of confusion around commitment and around what it means to be married. I just, for various reasons, had a lot of confused and messed up views of what that meant. For a number of years in our marriage, I caused my husband a lot of pain. And I share this because I know it's not uncommon between men or women. Relationships outside of marriage and just activities and choices that people make, you're not only hurting yourself and your marriage and and your children, if you have children. There's a lot more. The collateral damage of that is felt. So I share this because what I know is, being in business for 15 years also, I've done a lot of personal growth. I've hired a lot of coaches and trainers and been to a lot of events, worldly wisdom. And what happens is, it's very much what do I want? What do I want? Well, hey, if you ask yourself, what do you want? Ask yourself, what do I want? If there's no filter on that, and and you're not really thinking about the legacy that you're creating and what you want for forever, I encourage you to to consider what are the sources of information you're allowing to speak into your life. For me, I can speak that there are certain very worldly authors and speakers and trainers and coaches that will make it seem like they have the answer and create for you a false sense of you figuring out who you are. And at the end of that, you may for a time feel like, feel amazing and feel like you've got it all figured out. And suddenly there is not a lot of depth and substance to that. Suddenly you find yourself making decisions that you don't even recognize yourself anymore, because you've gone so far down the path of what do I want? What makes me feel good? What do I want? Well, you visualize what your life looks like, and suddenly you don't recognize yourself anymore, and not in a positive way. I don't know about you, but to get to the end and to be successful in something and make a bunch of money and to be recognized for a bunch of stuff, I've had a lot of those things, and it doesn't feel very good when you don't like who you are. I was at a rock bottom place, and I didn't want to be married anymore. And, it's hard to say that because my husband and I have kind of built our brand and our company on family and on this whole idea of, expose your potential. It's about thriving in every area. And we were anything but that. I felt like a fraud. It really became clear from that very dead, selfish, very hard place that years ago now, just several years ago, we went through this course, and it was the beginning of really getting some clarity on turning our world right side up in every way, about doing things God's way. And let me be clear, even when you make a decision for Christ, it doesn't suddenly mean life is easy, and don't ever think you're immune. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, you are not immune. And that's why, we have the need. We were created with a heart-shaped hole in our heart, it literally a need for a Savior, Jesus Christ. That's why He died on the cross for you and for me. But it's a decision that has to be made, and not only once. We make a decision to follow Christ, to have Jesus as our personal Savior. And that's the raising from the dead, I guess, in a sense. Our life, our spirit is risen from the death and sin and destruction of the world. But then we've got to actually we've got to take off the old self. Make the decision that we're going to look different and live differently. And what we listen to and what we put in and what we choose to focus on is different. It's not a one-time decision and suddenly life is different. There were even windows of times in the last few years after making that definite decision that when it's easy to it's like in our health. It's like in any relationship, anything in our lives, in our job, in our, we can kind of get comfortable and we start to coast and we start to go, when we're not growing, we are moving backward. Okay, so if you're not actively surrounding yourself with people that are encouraging you in the ways that you want to go, you are going to go the other direction. It seems common sense, but a lot of us are thick-headed, and we just we think, I got this. I'm strong enough in my own strength to do this. No, that's not true. I promise you. So again, what I know and what I can tell you is that a personal relationship with Jesus is not suddenly going to change everything, but it also is going to suddenly change everything. You have access to a power and authority that is not of this world, that gives you access to everything that you require to have such peace, such joy, such absolute, it's something that you can't really comprehend and understand. And even if you are a believer, if you've not stepped into the fullness of what you have access to, you're really missing out. The Bible is active, it's living, it's God's living word. And if you will choose to engage and choose to seek Him and ask Him and connect with others and be in fellowship and worship, and there is so much to that is so much more meaningful than any accomplishment on this side of life. So who am I? I'm a child of God. I'm a committed wife. I'm a loving mother. I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm a lover of life and of people. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I had to share this with you. So thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope that you're encouraged. If you have any questions about what it means and how it looks, to make a decision for yourself, it's a conversation, just like talking to anybody else. Just letting God, God, I know to this point, I've heard of you. Maybe I even made a decision for you, but I've not been living for you. And I want that. I want that back in my life. I want to know what it looks like to have an active relationship with you. Just talk to Him and ask Him and let Him know and make that conscious decision for yourself. And reach out to me if you made that decision or recommitted that decision. I'm so excited because I know that for myself and many others that I've been blessed to work with, it's the decision, the most critical decision of your entire life. And it's one that you get to make daily to renew your mind and continue to press in and allow Him to guide you and lead you. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll talk with you soon.